You want to know a massive pet peeve of mine? People lowballing the tier list. What do I mean by that? Well, if you want to lowball the tier list, what that basically means is you're putting characters way fucking lower on the tier list than maybe they actually should be. So, let's say someone says that, I don't know, like, Tiandi is terrible in fours, right? It's quite widely accepted that Tiandi is currently an extremely poor force in fours. He does less damage than everyone else. He takes up about 90% of his own stamina bar to literally hit someone with about 16 damage. He's reactable, all this bad shit, right? But what if I was to tell you that I've been doing extremely well with Tiandi, and I play at a fairly high elo, and, you know, I'm kind of wrecking with him. Now, do not take this the wrong way. I am not at all saying that I am some magical god tier Tiandi player that's like somehow objectively better than everyone else, right? Because I'm not. I'm absolutely not. I have seen some mad shit come out of really good Tiandi players, like that Prince guy, and really that's it. I don't remember any very good players. I'm going off track. Anyway, the tier list. So, why am I so annoyed about people who lowball the tier list? Well, the main reason is the people that do it. The main kind of people who lowball people on the tier list are the same kind of people who just kind of say, ah yes, well I just parry every 400 millisecond light that comes into my slight vicinity and I can just read everyone like an absolute book, mate. These are the people who say that 35 damage on a light parry is not fine, because light parries are just the easiest thing in the universe to obtain, right? So 35 damage is just too much. It can't be 35, it has to be like 20 or something. I don't know, and like heavy parries are just not allowed or something, mainly just because they hate fighting a Lawbringer, or they just don't like turtles or something, right? That's absolutely fine, you can believe what you want, but like, don't put someone low on the tier list because, like, their light parry punishes are low. Don't put someone low on the tier list because you can't use them very well. Don't put someone low on the tier list because he's widely accepted to be a strong character. So you want to put them on the bottom so you can feel prideful, so you can feel strong, because no one else can fight them but you have literally just lied to everyone that you can fight them perfectly fine. Also, don't lowball people for, you know, just widely accepted being bad, because being a sheep is just awful. And most definitely don't lowball a character simply because you fought a bad one that one time and you seem to have no problem with a Tiandi that light spammed, or you have no problem with a level 17 Tiandi that literally started playing them basically on the free weekend thingy that happened not so long ago. Now, you'll notice that I've said Tiandi quite a lot, and that's kind of the focus of this video, even though it may not be kind of that obvious. But I have had a lot of fucking fun playing Tiandi recently, and I have done extremely well with them. In fact, I've sort of carried entire games on my back, I've done mad good shit with them. And then it just randomly happened among a bunch of people that have started playing fours recently, apparently. Fours has just become way more popular than duels, most likely because dueling is just a lost fucking cause at this point with the tier list, that everyone's just either insane or completely useless. So fours is just kind of where it's at. But there's a lot of people playing fours at the moment, right? And there's a lot of tier lists for fours. And I've noticed Tiandi is at the bottom of, like, literally all of them. And this is more for Dominion. I know there's breach footage, but I just can't be arsed recording more shit. And it's because Tiandi doesn't fit anywhere. Now, sure, okay, he's not a mid laner, it takes too much stamina, and he just doesn't have the same tools that, like, Kensei does with his 3-hit zone, and he doesn't have the same tools that Lawbringer does with an absolute 0 recovery zone with all this other magic shit that Lawbringer has that he didn't before, right? He doesn't fit into any of the, like, current classes or anything. I don't think. Now, also don't get me wrong, I don't really know the definitions of the classes too well. But I come from the land down under, and I come from the land that, you know, uses frames instead of milliseconds, right? And I know my way around archetypes, and I sure as hell know my way around lanes. I come from the land of MOBAs. And, you know, to my knowledge, this never really used to be a thing where people were saying, like, oh, this person's a mid laner, this person's a side laner. I've not really heard of these terms until fairly recently. And, you know, like, if you want to fucking throw down about lanes, I'm a Smite player, man. I can tell you right now that, like, lanes are my specialty, right? Obviously, the definitions of lanes are completely different in the game, but I understand the concept, at least. And I'm going to tell you right now that Tiandi is not a bad character. In fact, he's insanely good, and that people are just using him wrong. Sorry if that hurts your feelings and you're playing Tiandi for the sake that he's low tier. I get it, like, I do that as well. I'm a cunt, I know. I'm a prideful cunt that thinks that, like, I don't know, tier list matters or something. I don't know. Call me what you want for me picking characters specifically because they're low tier and I want to prove people wrong. Say what you want about that, right? But I can tell you right now that I didn't know that Tiandi was apparently a low tier character when I started, you know, repping him up from like rep 2 to rep 7 now. I didn't know that this guy was apparently piss poor, that like he didn't fit anywhere, or oh, he consumes too much stamina, or he does no damage, oh, he can't fit anywhere. I didn't know this, and I've been completely destroying with him, like, literally like, going 18-4 in a match, playing as what would be considered as a roamer, or like just luring as many people into me as possible and anti-ganking as hard as possible. Doing things like 1v4s is also kind of my specialty. I don't seem to know why, but for some reason I can now just 1v4 whenever the fuck I feel like it. Maybe it's because I fight completely dog shit people. That's probably the case, sure. I know earlier I said I actually had a high elo. I don't know about my elo, because even though I'm a fairly good player, though I'm still casual, I highly doubt that my elo is very high. I'm put with extremely piss poor teammates. I get 1,000 score, my team gets about 70, my team has 7 extra chromosomes, and things happen, and I end up losing matches because of it, right? So maybe my elo isn't too high, and I'm just fighting terrible people, and that's why I'm saying Tiandi's actually good. But to me, what it feels like is that people are lowballing Tiandi just for a sense of pride. And if there's something I hate, it's, well, tier lists for this specific fucking reason. People will specifically just say, no, this character's terrible, or no, this character's extremely good, just to hurt people's feelings. Like, just to annoy people, right? I understand you may have a vendetta against a character, and that's fine, I do too. I absolutely despise Black Prior, for example. I genuinely just put him at the top of every tier list just out of pure spite for the fucking character. But I have nothing wrong with people who play him, necessarily. If they play Brain Dead, sure, I'll call them out on it, the same way that I'd call out a Brain Dead Warlord even though I main him, or a Brain Dead Tiandi, or a Brain Dead anyone, really. I'll still call them out on it, right? And I'll call out a Black Prior just the same. But I hate the character of Black Prior. Don't get these two things confused. Don't hate a player for the character, don't hate a character for the player, right? And tier lists, and this magic random meme that they became, right? And the amount of legitimate fools that have started making them, and the amount of For Honor players that currently exist, and the fact that there's a big old cauldron here with all of these ingredients in it. Now, what's the one thing that the For Honor community that specializes in? I'll give you half a second, because that's how fast lights should be. Yes, that is correct, Jimmy. Toxicity, right? So, you know, tier lists are the source of a lot of toxicity, or at least in my eyes they are quite possibly the biggest source of just the most passive-aggressive, fucking, like, I'm better than you pride fests. That's just all tier lists are, half of the time. That's why I never follow them, and that's why I very, very rarely create them. Tiandi being low on the tier list tells me that either seriously no one can play Tiandi, or that people are genuinely just saying that this character is bad so that new players feel bad, or so that, like, they can feel good, or that, like, casual players feel bad because they struggle against a Tiandi, or they struggle against that one god level Tiandi that could parry every light ever, that could deflect every light, that literally read everyone like a book and was a genuine god tier player. How Tiandi feels right now in this tier list as some C tier nobody feels so unjust that I'm, like, legitimately willing to just call everyone out who says Tiandi is shit and just say, I'd like to see you react to his mix-ups. I'd love to see you in a duel versus, like, a rep 60 Tiandi that's been playing him since he came out, so, like, this mad, insane Tiandi, and I want you to get your entire gang of boyfriends together, and I want you to fight this man and see how well you can fucking do, and then tell me that Tiandi is bad. Then you can tell me that his dodge attack is poor, that he has no mix-ups, that he's terrible, and he still fits nowhere. I'd love to see you do that. I'd love to see these so-called competitive players actually fight someone good with the character and evaluate a best case scenario rather than treating the game like a MOBA, treating it like a bunch of numbers, treating it like some sort of, like, there's no dynamic anything to the game, it's just a set of rules and it's just sort of, it plays out like a rock, paper, scissors sort of thing. Because I'm going to tell you right now that this game is not a MOBA. I'm going to tell you right now that this game is not competitively viable. Fuck no, it's not competitively viable, so you can stop telling me that you're a competitive or a pro player, because those literally can't exist. Have you played at EVO? Has this game even been at EVO? I don't even know. But, like, you are not a pro player, you are not a competitive player, and neither am I. Because they don't exist. So stop claiming that you're some competitive player. Right? Stop claiming that you're better than everyone. This tier list is only for competitive players. Tiandi is at the bottom. If you struggle fighting Tiandi, you must be fucking awful, mate. If you have lost to a team of 4 Tiandis, what is wrong with you? Delete the game. Delete the game right now. Delete it. How does that make new players feel? How does that make you feel? Imagine if I was to just say, like, mate, if you lost to 4 Warlords, you must be fucking terrible, mate. Warlord is so shit. What do you mean? He's, like, really good. Mate, his CC is fucking ass. Just counter guard break. Duh. Just react to that running mix-up. Just react to it all. It's fine. There's no pros to the character at all. There's absolutely nothing that he can do. Wait, you lost a 1v4 to him? Mate, how trash must you be? When in reality, his zone is, like, one of the best fucking, anti-ganking tools, because the hitbox is fucked. He has really high damage. He's got really good out-stamina punishes. He's got this, that, and the fucking other. He's got superior lights. He's got a shield, so it has an all guard. He's got lots of good tools at his disposal, and he's widely accepted as a good character, and I actually agree, right? But imagine if every one of these so-called competitive players that have 400 reputations in the game, so I must automatically know fucking everything. Imagine if these people just one day woke up and said, nah mate, Warlord's shite, and then everyone who played Warlord, who's getting, like, these mad killing sprees, suddenly are, like, the best players in the game because they're playing, like, a really low tier character and shit. Like, imagine if that just happened one day. Because that's kind of how it felt with Tiandi. I've lost to millions of fucking Tiandis, and I will not deny, right, I will not at all deny that Tiandi is probably not the best character ever, because don't get me wrong, I understand where people are coming from with this whole, like, he takes too much stamina thing, and the fact that he doesn't do quite as much damage as other characters. But this game is a dynamic game. This game isn't a set in stone set of numbers that just keeps repeating itself. This game isn't a MOBA. This game doesn't kind of focus on roles as much as people like to believe it does. The roles are there for organization. The roles are there so that characters can have a place and so that people can play the game in a more organized manner in a otherwise fairly discordant game that has very little sort of structure to its For's game, right? Dominion is not a very tactical game mode, yet people have made it that way so that they can place people on the tier list more effectively. But then we have people who claim to be pros, people who take this role thing a little bit too seriously, and people who take the game a little bit too seriously. People who say that this game is competitively viable. As you can probably tell, I actually have nothing wrong with people making tier lists. I have something wrong with the people making the tier lists. I have something wrong with the amount of people who say shit like Tiandi is bad, like this character's bad, this character is bad, this character's bad. Oh, and like, this character's extremely good. If you play them, you're brain dead. Oh, this character's like extremely bad, don't play them, otherwise you're throwing. Like, you know, just shit like this, right? I fucking hate this shit because it's the thing I swear to destroy. This is literally why I play low tier characters. I play MK11, right? Well, I'm more used to. I don't really anymore. I still love the game, I just don't play it that often, right? And currently, there's no extremely low tier character, which kind of makes me sad. Why does that make me sad? You know, like, everyone's viable, you can play everyone. Well, I mained Kotal Khan because he was low tier. I literally play people because they're bad. I don't play people because I can win with them. I don't play people because I can get sick frags, bruv. I play hard characters that are interesting and dynamic and cool, and I play low tier characters because I find them more entertaining, and I love proving people wrong about their thought. I like proving people's opinions wrong about characters, and I also really enjoy when an objectively worse player than me complains about me rather than the character that I'm playing. If they complain about, like, the fact that I'm playing Black Prior, let's say, and they say, oh, that's just a brain-dead character, I kind of don't have a defense against that, do I? If they say I'm a brain-dead player, and I'm playing an actual brain-dead character, and but I'm actually playing them well, I'm playing them extremely well, they're just going to hide behind that all the time. Yet if I main pre-rework Shigoki, and I frag like fuck, and you get completely destroyed, you have no choice but to sort of back down and say, actually, no, that was cool. Sure, you did this a lot, but, like, I mean, you know, you utilize the character really well, and you're actually a good player. I'll take that. I'll take that loss as, like, actually not bad. You know, that's not a hit to my fucking pride or anything. Because, you know, everyone's prideful. Get over it. I am as well, as you can probably hear, because I'm saying words in such an order that you believe me to be the worst human being in existence. I get that. So, dear competitive For Honor players, this basically applies to, I wouldn't say all YouTubers, some of them are actually really cool, but like, I'm saying, like, a lot of YouTubers that, you know, take this role thing a little bit too seriously, to everyone who just, like, makes tier lists just because people want them to, because there's, so, like, so, these YouTubers make tier lists just so that people can feel better about the character that they play, so that people can feel better that they can beat this character often, so that people can feel better that they win with this character often, or stuff like that. That's really the only reason why tier lists in For Honor exist, so that people can feel better. There's barely a fucking tier list in this game. Don't even try me. So, my request is stop. Or, don't be so negative. Sure, right? Not every character is as viable as the next. That absolutely makes sense. And I understand this game has some sort of play-by-the-books everything is numbers sort of attitude, because there has been cases of power creep before, where Black Prior was just kind of objectively better than Warlord for a short while, and he arguably still is. Stuff like that, like, I understand this game definitely has power differences between characters and shit. It's not like everyone's the same tier. It's not like there is a worst character, there is a best character, but people are so definite in it. People are so cement sort of, yes, this character is bad, yes, this character is good sort of thing, and it's just depressing, because I know that the person behind that is only saying that so that they can feel better, and it just worries me, right? Thank you for staying until the end, if you have. If you just randomly skip to the end because I ramble too much, I absolutely understand that. If you'd like to see my other content, I make some For Honor stuff sometimes, I make Siege stuff sometimes. Warning, I'm not a very good player of the video games, but I do it sometimes anyway. I also play Smite, if anyone's ever heard of that game. And I play some other shit too, like Battlefront 2, I don't fucking know what else. I play multiplayer games and I'm a PvP man, yeah, alright, that's good enough, right, that's a wrap, cool, bye, I guess.